Welcome to this step-by-step guide on employee taxation in Denmark. In the next few minutes, we will walk through how the Danish tax system works for employees, what you need to do when you start working, and how to ensure you are paying the right amount of tax on time, without surprises. Denmark is known for relatively high taxes combined with a strong social security system, and as an employee, most of your tax obligations are handled automatically through your employer and the National Tax Authority, Skattestyrelsen. However, understanding the basics will help you avoid unexpected bills, make informed financial decisions, and stay fully compliant with Danish regulations. Let us begin with the core concept. In Denmark, the tax year follows the calendar year, from 1st January to 31st December. As an employee, your taxes are mainly paid through withholding, which means your employer deducts tax and labor market contributions directly from your salary before you are paid. These deductions are based on information held in your tax card, or skattekort, which is created and managed by Skattestyrelsen. To work legally and pay the correct taxes, you must first have a Danish civil registration number, known as a CPR number. If you are moving to Denmark or starting work for the first time, obtaining a CPR number is typically your first administrative task. You apply for it at a local citizen service center, often referred to as borgerservice, or through an international citizen service center if you are a foreign resident. Once you have your CPR number, you can be registered in the tax system. The next critical step is to obtain your tax card. This card is not physical. It is an electronic record that your employer accesses through the tax system. The tax card specifies how much tax to withhold each month, based on your expected annual income and deductions. You can view and adjust your tax card online using Skattestyrelsen's self-service platform, TasteSelv, typically accessed via your MitID digital login. When you first start working, you should log into TasteSelv and create or review your preliminary income assessment, known as your forskudsopgørelse. Here, you enter your expected annual salary, any additional income such as side jobs or freelance work, and relevant deductions, for example interest on loans, commuting allowances if eligible, or contributions to certain pension schemes. Based on this information, Skattestyrelsen calculates a projected annual tax and spreads it across the year, which in turn drives the withholding shown on your tax card. From your employer's perspective, once they have your CPR number and access to your correct tax card, they will start processing your salary using the Danish pay model, meaning pay as you earn. Each month, your gross salary will be subject to an 8% labor market contribution, or AM-bidrag, which is deducted before income tax is calculated. After the AM contribution is removed, the remaining amount is subject to income tax that generally consists of municipal tax, church tax if you are a member of the national church, and state tax. For higher incomes, a top bracket tax applies above a specific threshold set annually. In addition, there are compulsory contributions to ATP, the labor market supplementary pension, which are relatively small but automatically deducted. The net amount after these deductions is what you see as take-home pay, deposited to your bank account. To ensure that your withholdings are accurate, it is important to review your preliminary assessment at least once a year and whenever a significant change occurs, such as a salary increase, a new job, a bonus, a change in marital status, or taking on a second job. If you do not update your expected income, you might end up paying too little tax through the year and face an additional bill in the following spring, or too much tax and wait for a refund. Adjusting your forskudsopgørelse is straightforward. You log in to TasteSelv, update your projected salary and deductions, save the changes, and the system will automatically issue an updated tax card that your employer can access. Throughout the year, you do not typically file monthly returns yourself as an employee. The system is designed to be largely automatic. Your employer reports your salary and tax withholdings directly to the tax authority via the electronic income register, known as Indkomst. If you have only standard employment income and simple financial circumstances, most of your obligations are met through these automatic reports and your initial tax card settings. The next major milestone in the process comes the following March, when Skattestyrelsen issues your annual tax assessment, called the årsopgørelse. This document summarizes your actual income, deductions, and tax paid for the previous calendar year. You access it in TasteSelf, where you can see a line-by-line breakdown of salary income, AM contributions, municipal and state taxes, pension contributions, interest income and expenses, and any other registered items. At this point, you should review whether all sources of income are correctly captured and whether deductions are complete. For example, if you have work-related expenses that qualify for deductions or interest payments on loans not automatically reported, you may need to add them manually. If you notice missing or incorrect information, you can edit your assessment directly in TasteSelf. Once finalized, the system calculates whether you have paid too much or too little tax. Overpaid tax is usually refunded automatically to your bank account, while underpaid tax can either be paid as a lump sum or, in some cases, spread out with interest, if not settled by specific deadlines. For employees with more complex situations, such as cross-border work, stock options, or multiple employers, it is advisable to pay extra attention to both the preliminary assessment and the annual tax statement. Denmark has specific rules for foreign workers, including a special expat tax scheme in some cases, and double taxation agreements with many countries. If any of these apply to you, consulting the Skattestyrelsen guidance or seeking professional tax advice can help ensure compliance and optimize your tax position. In addition to income tax, you should be aware that certain employee benefits are taxable. Company cars, free phones, housing, and some allowances may be treated as taxable benefits in kind, with a value assigned by the tax authorities and included in your income. These are normally reported by your employer, but you remain responsible for checking that your årsopgørelse reflects them correctly. Non-cash benefits that are not properly reported can lead to retroactive tax assessments. From a practical standpoint, there are a few habits that can make managing your Danish taxes as an employee much smoother. First, keep your details up to date. Whenever you change jobs, move to a new address, adjust working hours significantly, or take on additional income sources, log into TasteSelf and adjust your forskudsopgørelse. Second, monitor your payslips. Each month, review your payslip to confirm that your tax percentage, AM contribution, ATP, and any pension contributions align with what you expect based on your preliminary assessment. Third, schedule time each spring to review your årsopgørelse carefully, checking both income and deductions. Finally, maintain basic documentation such as employment contracts, pay slips, loan statements, and receipts for deductible expenses for at least a few years in case the tax authority requests clarification. To summarize the process step by step, first, ensure you have a CPR number and are registered in Denmark. Second, log in to the Skattestyrelsen portal and set up your preliminary income assessment, which generates your electronic tax card. Third, provide your employer with your CPR number so they can access your tax card and start withholding the correct tax and contributions. Fourth, monitor your payslips and adjust your preliminary assessment whenever your circumstances change. Fifth, each spring, review your annual tax assessment, make any necessary corrections, and settle or receive any tax balance. By following these steps, you can navigate employee taxation in Denmark with confidence, avoid unpleasant surprises, and focus on your work and life, knowing that your tax affairs are in good order.